let me tell you about my past dating experiences, dating women in like straight from China. Okay, but before I do that, let me introduce our guest speaker today. Today we have a guest speaker, one of my best friends. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey, my name's Enric, and it just so happened that we, started talking about this topic, about dating girls from, mainland China, Taiwan, just, foreign areas. And it kind of got us thinking, like, maybe we should talk about this and, like, just, break it up a little more, dissect it, and see what our thoughts are.
Oh, yeah.
Just wanted to get a feel for this.
And for those of you that don't know, me and Enric, we love dating, like, overseas. We love dating women that are more, I guess, like fob. We have this term, like terminology called
I'd
fob.
Say so. And
Asian girls.
And it's funny because before high school, I never really thought that I'd be dating or getting into like dating fobs or like, getting into that culture. But all that's kind of changed since, I lived in Taiwan for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then you visited it a lot during the Christmas, summer times. And I feel like,
dude, that was just like gang times, bro. Those are some fun times, man.
Yeah, a lot of influence happened out there, man.
But yeah, I mean, like everyone always thinks that I like ABGs. ABGs, for anyone who's not Asian or doesn't know what ABGs are, it's a Asian baby girl. They put on a lot of cake, they put on like fake eyelashes, and then they kind of look more raccoony to me.
Yeah,
so
and it's
I don't like.
It's also like more like American-born Chinese kind of style. I feel like a lot of ABCs get into that kind of style.
Yeah.
It's not even like it doesn't even have to even be a personality to be ABG. I think it's just like the trends, like what they wear on their face, what they're carrying, what brands they're wearing, all that.
Yeah, but for me, I don't know, man. I just didn't really find ABGs that attractive. But nothing against like ABGs. It's just my preference, right? But I want to talk more about like my experience with dating girls straight from China, though, because we did talk about how me and you, we kind of click. That's why we're kind of best friends, because we both dated in Taiwan, and we both kind of like a little bit. I grew up in Taiwan as well, a little bit, but Enric pretty much grew up there, like solely grew up there. And then, so my experience dating straight girls from China, that's a different experience, right? So what I want to talk about with that is every time we would talk about the finances, getting to paying for the date,
right,
gets a little bit heated. And
definitely.
I'm like saying, well, why would a man need to pay for the women, right, for the first date? And then usually the number one thing that I get from the women that are straight from China, the ones that I go out on dates with, they say, well, when she has kids, that's when her body is the most weak. So she needs to know that the man can take care of her. And I'm just thinking, okay, that's a good point. But let me ask you this. How would the man know that you're going to be able to take care of his kid? You're just automatically assuming that you can take care of the kid. The woman can take care of the kid, but the man is going to be like, what, a fuckboy and not take care of his kid?
I think it's like also the fact that it's very traditional and old school, like old fashioned of thinking. So from what I've seen and what I've witnessed myself, I feel like women, they treat it like this. They see like if a man can pay for the bill, then ultimately it also shows that the man can be a caretaker. Not necessarily like the man's gonna be out and about while the mom's taking care of the child in the future, but more like the breadwinner, right? Who's the one that's bringing in the bread? Who's the one that's gonna be the roof over the head of the family? And when a girl sees that like a man pays for the bill, especially during the first date, it gives them like a very positive a positive look into who you are as a character. But of course, don't get me wrong, like that's not every date that I've been with, especially with like girls from Taiwan specifically. Some of them actually would be like, hey, do you want me to pay for half of this? Should we like go 50-50? And or just sometimes like let me get this bill. Like that's happened to me before, and that's such a huge turn on for me.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's a huge turn on. Like something my eye just like brightens up. It's like, wow, did she just say that? And it's funny because how ironic like that happens. I end up just saying, you know what, I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
because you just left a really good impression on me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think why is that so important? Because it shows a big appreciation that this character has. If you lack appreciation, if you lack your ability to be grateful for certain things, be thankful.
Exactly.
What about when I buy you like a house? How do I know you're going to be grateful, right?
Exactly.
So that's a big turn on for me too. Like I exactly 100% agree with you. I would still be like, no, I got you. I still don't think men should pay, because, you know, as we start kind of heading down this path of equality, men and women are both working.
Right.
I've even dated a lot of women, and they said that they made more than their ex-boyfriends. And I was like, well, if that's the case, why are men still paying? Because if we look at the concept of why men used to pay back then, traditional concepts is because men would make more, or women just would be at the housewives, right? If we look at very, very ancient times, it would be like the men, they're like the farmers, they're like the peasants, like working, like just doing all this like crap, while the woman is staying in the house, taking care of the kids, doing the housework and stuff like that. That's why ancient times, like they would pay, like the men would pay for like dates or whatever bullshit, pay for all the stuff.
Right, but like you said, ancient times are changing. People are becoming more independent. Women are having more, flexibility with what they want to do in their lives. They're no longer the stay-at-home mom per se. And you know what? Like, yes, I agree with you. Like, men definitely shouldn't be paying all the time, every dinner, every lunch, every formal outing. I feel like there should be some type of balance, especially because at the end of the day, you want to feel like you're appreciated too.
For sure.
Just like women want to feel pampered, men want to feel pampered too. Everyone wants to have that safety net that like, what if one day something like blah, 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 something happens, right? Something negative happens in your life. You want the relationship that you're with or whoever you're dating at that time to be there for you and be like, hey, I know you're going through a rough patch in your life. Let me take you to dinner. Let's get like one of your favorite places that you want to eat. For example, for me, like I love Italian food. It's like, all right, let's go to Beverly Hills. Let's go to that one spot that you like. Let me pamper you. Let me make the day about you.
Men need that. That's what you're saying, right?
Men need that. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like, you hear all these stories now, these horror stories about men paying for everything, or like, I'm sure you've heard of like people who are dating right now and then they're just like, oh my god, that was like the shittiest date I've been on and I still paid. You know what I mean?
Like men,
it's like
I mean even we both have that experience. I'm pretty sure
it's like I'm never gonna see this girl again,
and it's like a first date. Why am I entitled to pay for a first date? Like I don't really know this girl, but it's like, we just still go with like culture. But for me, right, especially for me, like I go with culture, but since I was young, middle school, I was already paying for like dates sometimes. And I would be like, this doesn't really make sense. I'm not making money.
Right.
And we're all like kind of piggybacking off what our parents make. So what I'm thinking is that like, I asked the woman or the girl at that time, it's a girl, right? Cause it's middle school.
Right.
I would ask her, hey, why would I need to pay for this date? We would get on the topic and she's like, oh, because you're a man and then men make more. And I'm like, well, I'm not making any money right now. I'm in middle school. So know that it's already penetrated. Like even at a young age, it's already penetrated. So it didn't make sense at all anymore. So
it's funny in high school, I was on a date with a girl, right? And we were at a night market, and it was really cute because I would be the first one to be like, okay, let's go to this booth. I'm going to pick up some, for example, Taiwanese sausages. So I get that one. I pay for it. And then I'm like, here's one for you. Here's one for me. And then we get to the next booth and she's like, let me get this one. And I just thought it was really adorable because at that time you're in a night market, you're a broke high school student, but everything's so cheap in Taiwan. And it's just the fact that like we were just like, oh, let me get this stall. Oh, you get the next stall. Oh, you want drinks? Let me get drinks.
That's pretty much true love right there.
That's awesome. Like I wish that kind of style and mentality carried on after college when we started actually making money. When we started actually going to restaurants that we just would never have thought about when we were younger, even in college, like, for example, in college and we're just like fogo de chao. We thought like that was like the meal to go to, it was like, oh shit, that it's got to be like an anniversary dinner, a birthday dinner, you want to take the girl out somewhere nice, and nowadays it just feels like on your first, like, okay, going back to the first date. I used to not care where the first date was, But now it's like you have to care, because what if it goes to the point where it's like, oh damn, this girl's not interesting, and we're getting some good food and we're getting all these drinks, but then again, it's like if it's not as interesting, you probably wouldn't even want to get any more drinks. You probably like kind of want to rush the scene, right? You're probably like, hey, I think it's about that time, we should go home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And man, it sucks because when the bill comes, there's that little awkward, tiny, I'm sure you feel it too.
No, yeah, for
that
sure.
little moment where you look at each other and you're just like, all right, so how's this going to work out? You know, how's this going to work out? Especially if it's someone that you're not into.
Yeah, I just hate how political it gets, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, it becomes like a financial struggle where it's like, okay, so who pays for this?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it shouldn't be about that. I feel like it should be very, very obvious that love is not about money, right? Love is not, it should not be correlative to money, especially when we're at a period where men and women are starting to become equal, right? I mean, people can complain all they want. They could bitch about like, oh, well, women still make less, blah, blah, blah. Like average women still makes less. Well, that whole thing was kind of debunked. So that whole like, women pay gap, that thing is the gender difference, that thing was debunked. So anyone can look that up if they want. But what I want to kind of like talk about, getting back to that story about like my dates, from like going on with dates, girls straight from China, right? So when I asked that question, I was like, well, how would a man like feel like you could take care of the kid? She asked me a question back. She was like, do you have a problem making friends?
So she wanted to see if like you're like social.
It just I don't know. I think she just wanted to like disrespect me or something, but in like she was smiling while she was saying that, like, but she looked me dead in the eyes, like a very like sinister, you know?
Right.
But,
it's like as if she's trying to irk you.
Yeah, and I was
like,
how the fuck do women get away with things like this sometimes? It's crazy, but I think the fact that we can't really speak up about these things, that's kind of like the motivation why I wanted to start this podcast. I mean, there's obviously different aspects we talk about. We talk about growth motivation, we talk about crazy stories, and right now this is about modern dating. So this is kind of why I want to start this podcast, because I feel like men do not really have a voice, and if we see something that is not really equal to us, we don't feel like it's like there's actually true equality, then we kind of go like, shit, we still have to go according to this culture. Like, for example, me and you, we still pay for first dates, you know?
Yeah,
I still pay for first dates. But it's like, sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? So I get to the topic of this. And then some other things I would hear is that has been across also American women as well. So they would say, well, you're asking her out.
Right. Okay, see, I get that a lot too. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But what do you think I'm going to say? Take a guess what I'm going to say right now.
You're probably going to say this. Wait, you're the one that invited me out, so you should be the one paying for the date, you know, picking me up, you know, transportation, everything should be on you because I didn't ask you out. You're the one that asked me out, right?
Yeah. But what do you think I have a problem with this? Like, what do you...
Entitlement. It's like entitlement. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's like they expect, okay, I'm giving you my time of the day. You're attracted to me, so that's why you initiated this, right? So it's like,
yeah, but what I want to get at is actually,
right. Okay.
Well, you got it wrong, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, yeah, it's all right, man. Different minds.
No, what I was trying to get at, I'm pretty sure you know this though, is that the man always asks out the woman, almost 9 times out of 10, unless you're like a super attractive fucking model guy that is like in Vogue magazine or something, then probably you're gonna get a lot of girls asking you out. Then they're gonna pay, right? But we don't get asked out as men. We don't get asked out that much.
We're always usually the ones doing the initiation.
Exactly. So it's almost 100% we're gonna be paying. All right. I barely get asked out, and even like really good looking guys, like we have this one friend Chris. He asks the girls out. Right. And then like no girls ask him out, and he's always paying too. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think because of that, it's kind of like, well, yeah, it is her time, but it's also the man's time, and we got have this assumption that, well, it's always going to be the man asking the woman out, so it's not really about her time. It's not really about us wasting her time. I mean, she needs a boyfriend too, right? If she keeps having this boss bitch mentality, oh, you're wasting my time, you're utilizing my time, then she's going to be single for a long time.
Yeah, and also it's like clearly it's probably ingrained in them too. It's like, okay, especially if it's a girl that's super attractive or beautiful, or like, growing up from the household. Oh, you're beautiful. The parents always tell them, oh, 你超美的, you're pretty. Oh, you're the family's diamond, and the we gotta pamper you. So from the get-go, I just feel like they're in their minds, they already know that, oh, I'm all that. So whoever's coming to me for a date, they better be ready to like take care of me the way my parents or my dad, specifically dads, take care of their daughters.
Yeah.
I have sisters, right? And I can totally see it. My dad spoils them way more than me, the son. And I think it's because of that kind of like lifestyle that they're used to. They want to find someone that's going to spoil them, if not even more. They're not gonna settle for less. Just like you and I, we shouldn't settle too. We should never settle. But I think in their mentality, like, I mean, do you agree?
Problem is, I had a lot of catfishes.
Okay.
The dates I was talking about, straight from China. They came here, probably like only here for like 2 years or so, and then they were catfishes. They were not good looking, and then even catfishes are starting to have this mentality. Do you believe that it's starting to uptrend? Like all women are slowly starting to have this.
But let me ask you this: when you knew it was a catfish, why did you continue to date? Why didn't you just drive off?
I'm not that type of guy, man. I mean, honestly, like, I saw her and I was like, oh shit, I got catfish. But I still talk to her. I want to be a gentleman,
Right.
I still pay for the date too.
Okay.
It's just I value people. I treat people as like human beings. I don't want to just be like, oh, you don't look good, I'm out. I don't want to treat them like shady. So I still had a conversation, but still, I still felt like there's a big sense of entitlement. It doesn't apply to just like pretty girls, right? So I feel like that's the problem. We're heading down like a path where it's not even just pretty girls, but even okay or even not so great looking girls they're starting to have this entitlement, and then so it would be harder for us men to find someone good. And then in addition to that, we're wasting a lot more money. And think about it like this: a lot of guys in this world are average. So if you put that into perspective, they're not as like successful as me and you, right? If you put that into perspective, you have a guy who is not making that much money. He's very limited on how many dates he could go on. And so his chance of love and happiness is a lot less than a woman's chance, right? So he would probably, if he's like really broke but really good looking, he'd probably not have the opportunity to date so many girls. And then because of that, he might end up being single, right? So that's what sucks for men. In addition to this, let's take it on the flip side, right? So for example, a guy makes 3 times more than the girl. Okay. We talked about that thing about, oh, it's my time as a woman. I'm giving you my time, right?
Right.
But both of you guys both are straight. You guys both want a husband or a wife, right? You guys want to get married. So by that assumption, then if the man makes 3 times more than you, wouldn't his time be more valuable? That's my question. So when I talk to these girls about like, finances and paying for dates, they say, oh, well, it's my time. I think honestly, you got to value other people's times as well, because both of you guys are on this quest to find the one, right? You guys are both wanting
exactly.
So
it's not gonna be like the first date, right? You want to invest your time into this relationship, and they're also thinking the same way, right? Like they're investing their time as well. But you brought up a really good topic, or just a statement right there. When girls, or just the opposite sex or whatever, whoever you're dating, when they believe that their time is more important than yours, and they don't ever have to say it, but you can tell by the way their persona is, their actions, the way that the way that they kind of queue up, and just the way they talk too, and those are little red flags that I always catch. I always see those red flags, and I always remember, oh, like I remember this girl. She kind of felt like she was all that, and at the end of the day, you have to tell yourself: is there going to be a second date? Will there even be a third date, or should you just like let it go? And now that you and I, we're kind of we're getting to our 30s soon, you know, like, we're both 29 now. So we have to be very selective. It's not like when we were like in college, 21, 22, it's like, all right, let's just keep dating. Let's just keep seeing where it goes,
Yeah, for sure.
All that time. Now it's
the reason I bring this up is because I see 10 years ago, right?
Okay.
When we were like in our early 20s versus right now, we're heading close to like 30s. Back then, I didn't see that many women like this versus like right now.
Right.
When I go on dates, even like what I said earlier, like
right.
even like the threes, even like the twos, maybe even the one I got catfish with, it's almost prominent everywhere, and that's the problem. That's why I'm bringing up this topic, because we should probably have a voice on this so that women are more acknowledgeable that, you know, you shouldn't just think about your own time, but you should also look at the guy's time as well.
Yeah, it's like a collaborative.
It's very important.
Yeah.
We look at everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to treat others how you want to be treated. So,
and you know, it sucks, but as we get older, I feel like, personally, I feel like everyone's becoming more selfish. Everyone's becoming more selfish. Everyone's becoming more entitled to themselves. You know, it's more like a me rather than us kind of lifestyle now. Yep. You know, it's like, because like, you know, we're bachelors. We're kind of like moving towards that time in our life where it's like, okay, we're dating because we're trying to be serious now. We're not dating for fun anymore.
Yep.
And I think that girls, they know, or women, they know that, and they're also thinking the same way. You know, they don't want to waste their time too. And as messed up as it sounds, you and I, we do have more time, you know, in our dating lives and our, you know, just our lifestyles to find someone, find the perfect match, find the future wife, compared to women. You know, their time is a little more limited, and you don't want to waste their times if you know that, you know, this is not the girl you're falling in love with, you know. And I got taught that from my dad. You know, he's like, you're 29, you know, you got to also think about the girlfriend you're with. They're 29, they're 28, maybe around the same age as you. They're already thinking about, oh, you know, maybe it's time to start a family soon. Or, you know, they're at that age where it's like they need to start a family soon. So maybe in that perspective, they feel like their time is more important and they're entitled to it compared to whatever guy or, you know, person that they're going out on a date with. They're like, my time's more important because I need this time now.
Yeah.
You know, this is my time. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally respect that. I understand, but you know, that doesn't give you the opportunity as a woman to disrespect the man.
Oh yeah,
just be like,
definitely.
This is my time. I don't
Definitely.
care about your time. But anyways, going back to the topic of the China stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Dating women from China. So another thing that I want to bring up is that there's a term called like ma baos, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that ma baos are pretty much like mother is ma, and then bao is like baby. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of men that are ma baos in China. Don't quote this from me, by the way. I don't want anyone like from China saying that. It's statistics that I got from like dating women over there, right? So don't quote it from me. So that's what they said. They always talk about how there's a lot of ma baos in China. Okay. Mm-hmm. So assuming that you're dating a ma bao, he could pay for your date. He gets all his hand-me-down money from his parents. He pays for your date. But when it comes down to it, if you guys start living together mm-hmm. and all this crap, and this actually did happen to one of the girls I dated in the past, mm-hmm. they started living together. Then the guy can really take care of like housework and be like equal with like all the housework, because it's like she works more than him. She gets off later than him.
Right.
And so he's just at home. He gets home earlier, and then he starts playing his games. I understand if you're a hustler. If you're a hustler, you come back home. You're a man. You come back home. You're still making money and all this stuff. You're doing like probably executive level work.
Yeah, but you just want time to just kind of just unwind.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But the thing is that I think this guy's problem is that he comes back home. He's playing games. He's not doing anything crazy. Like for example, you probably go home and then you're still on the phone, like connecting, networking with other people and stuff
right.
like that. But for example, these ma baos, right? Like if you cannot really do much in the household, for example, men are more likely to know how to fix a car or fix the house and stuff
right.
like that, right? if you just know how to play your games, then there's no equality that you're doing. So what I'm bringing this up is because you could have a guy pay for the date. He could attract you. He could pull you in, right? He could lure you in, make you think that, oh yeah, I could sustain you with money and all this stuff. But when it comes down to it, he can't really do anything because he's a mob ball. So that's what I'm trying to say is that money, it doesn't necessarily correlate to a guy's ability to hustle or take care of you, even take care of you when you're pregnant, right? Because she mentioned before, these women that I dated straight from China, they mentioned that I want a guy that can take care of me if my body's really weak from pregnancy or having a kid. So if he just knows how to pay for your dates, it doesn't necessarily mean he knows how to do anything.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example, right? So there's a time I went to me and a couple friends went to a bonfire. There were girls and stuff like that too. I carried everything from the car far away, okay? And then I carried it all over, and then like the girls were like really like, oh shit, this guy's, I got a lot of respect from that. But I started thinking from that, if you dated a guy who just knew how to pay for dates, would he know how to do man work like this, carrying all the stuff, like every single thing?
Right, and then also organizing, right?
Organizing, yeah. I planned the whole event too.
Exactly. So, and that brings me to another point too. I remember we were at my friend's house. We were at a party, and we were using actual dishes, not like paper plates where you were like red cups you just throw it away. Yeah. So of course at the end of the day, who's gonna have to clean up those plates? It's gonna be whoever hosted the party. Yeah. So knowing that, I cleaned up. I started throwing things away, and then dishes started putting them in the dishwasher. And what really caught my attention was one of my friends also came back and helped me. And he started scrubbing down the plates that were a little dirtier than the ones that you can just put in the dishwasher. And when I saw that, I was like, this guy, he's going to be a good husband. Or this guy, he's going to be a very good house, like a caretaker, family man. Because when we were doing that, I can tell that there was other people on the side. Like, they noticed we were doing that, but they did not want to help.
Yeah, just watching.
They're just watching. And it just makes me feel like, damn, dude, these guys... Like, I wonder how their lifestyles are. Like, are they the ones that just sit on the couch the whole day while, the other people cook and clean for them?
Exactly. They're not that vigilant. Because as a woman, you would want a guy who's vigilant. Like, he's very sharp. He sees things. He sees a fucking car coming, about to do a drive-by or something. He knows, all right, like, I got to fucking start
like, you're aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, he's very aware. You want a guy who knows all this stuff. Yeah. You don't want a guy who's just like, huh?
Oh, what do we do?
Yeah. Oh, you guys are cleaning? Oh,
okay.
Let's drink some more beer, bro.
Exactly.
it's like, you don't want, like, okay, say for example that bum, he knows how to drink and he just like sits back and watches everyone do shit, but he could pay for your date. Just because he knows how to pay for your date, that means he's a very responsible guy. That means he can take care of you.
Hell no. And that's that's funny because I think, okay, don't get me wrong, like, this is my own personal opinion, but money does really show you, it gives you a strong image, right? It's like, okay, this guy's loaded. Cool. Your first like thought is, okay, he's loaded. He must be really successful. He must be a hustler. But that's not the case nowadays. That really isn't the fucking case nowadays. Like,
we know we have broke friends that pay for every date, more dates that I go on. Yeah. And they're broke. And it's insane how we live in a society where women they naturally think that, okay, this guy pays for a date. I'm not saying all women, by the way. So don't like think I'm being like, discriminatory.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is that, like, we live in a world where most women think, oh, this guy paid for a date. It's so nice. He could treat me nice. Come on. You got to think about the long term. If he doesn't have a good job, he's using all his money just to pay for this date.
Stability. There's no stability.
Just so that he could lure you in for a little bit. Later on, you're going to be very, very sad. You're going to be very struggling a lot, frustrated.
And it, it's so sad to see that people get kind of caught up in that trap, that attention. And then, like, at the end of the day, 2 years go by, you're with the same guy that you thought would have got your back, but it turns out you're the anchor in the relationship.
Yeah.
But you're so caught up in the intimacy and the love, and you're like, oh, we've been together for 2 years now. It's kind of like you get caught in that cycle. You know what I mean? And you don't want to get caught in that cycle. Like, you want to find somebody who can be your anchor too, right? And I feel like we're at this point in life where it's like we need to support each other. We can't we no longer want to pamper the girl anymore, you know?
sure.
You no longer want to be like, "Oh, I'll take care of everything." You kind of want someone that's just like, "Hey, whatever you want to do, I support you. I got your back, and I hope you support me and get my back too on everything. We'll be each other's backbone." You know, I think that's like the mentality that I want people to start understanding nowadays. Like that's how it should be. You know, that's ultimately what I want, you know, and I hope that's what everyone wants too. Support both ways, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of finances is very important too, because it should be like our money is our money, not like her money is her money. Exactly. His money is our money. Right. I think that's a little bit fucked up, because you guys should be working together to buy a house. You can't just assume that every man in this world is rich. Every man in this world, no, he should be able to buy me a house. He should be able to buy me Christian Dior, buy me LV, all this crap. Not every guy is like that. And I can say that we're more successful, me and you, but there's a lot of guys out there that are struggling because they lack that success. But it doesn't mean that they can't treat a woman right. Just because he can not really pay for all this stuff. But what if he could treat you right, give you like massages and all that, you know?
You know what's sad about that? It's also the fact that, and this has happened in my personal life too, personal experiences. I have a buddy of mine, you know, in college, and say for example, he makes $10,000 a month. Okay. Of that 10,000, 60% of that would be spent on his girlfriend, because he wants to keep up that facade for his girlfriend. That's like, oh, I got you, whatever you want, whatever you need.
They still together?
I got you. No, finally, yeah, thank God they broke up.
I see. Like I could just predict that. You know, it's not sustainable.
And it's like the girl wants this, girl wants that. He wants to make the girl happy, so he does this, right? Yeah. And then just think about those months and those years that he put in. If that 60% he didn't use on, you know, for example, materialistic items, you know, shoes, purses, he could have had a lot of savings already. He could have like invested that in his own life, you know, to have the upper hand in life, you know, to possibly put down a 10-20% down payment on a house already by now. Yeah. But because he got caught up in that lifestyle, making, you know, just doing all that, and like it really hurt him, you know, in a sense. And I feel like a lot of people are in that mindset and lifestyle now, where it's like they want to make their woman happy because that is their number one goal, you know, to treat their woman right, and they forget about everything else. You know, they forget about everything else.
I disagree with it. I think that their number one goal is still, because men, we look at more of the long term. I'm not saying like all men right, or all women don't do this. But women, for the most part, I would say they look at more so the short term and how they're happy right now. You like, from your experience, when you go on dates with girls, do you have the kind of like impression that this woman wants to save up to buy a house as soon as possible so that you guys can live happy?
Yeah, there were a few goal-oriented girls or women that I've dated or got to know, and that's another like great fucking aspect. Whenever I hear they just unravel what they want to do in the next 5 years, they're like, oh, I hope in the next 5 years I can have 2 investment properties.
But how often is that? How often do you come across women like that? More like that, or
first date wise, like to just talk about that during the first date, or just
no, like if you guys were dating for like a month or 2 months, at least a month.
Okay, at least a month. Yeah, you're right. Like not a lot.
They're more so living for the moment, right?
Yeah, not a lot. Yeah. They would just be planning like, oh, what they're gonna do in a couple weeks, or like, oh, we're gonna go to Hawaii. I'm gonna go to Vegas. I'm gonna go find my friends in Toronto. Yep. You know, but
that's not to say every girl's like that.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's not. Yeah,
but right. Like what I want to say about this is that I'm gonna speak like to all the viewers out there, is that men more so look at the long term, and then women more so look at the time they're in for the moment, right? So what men are looking at the long term for is they want to save as much as possible. I'm pretty sure your friend, he still had it in the back of his mind. He wanted to save money. He needs to save money. He's getting all this pressure. But he's also getting pressure that he has to spend money on his girl or else he will lose her.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there's a conflict that went on in his brain,
his head,
and that's what sucks, because men, we're looking for the long term. We're looking, I want to get a house as soon as possible so that I could provide for my future wife and we could have kids. We could live happy. Right. So we look at that more so. And then women, I feel like they cannot fault us for that because we are trying to provide for the end goal. Whereas, you know, they might be living for the moment right now. And so I think, for example, me, right? Sometimes I don't want to pay for like a first date. I don't really know you, first of all. I don't think your time is more important than my time. Mm-hmm. Number 3 is that I really think that I want to save money as so I could get a house as soon as possible, right? But if I have to pay for all these first dates every single time, it's just like, honestly, I don't want to go out on dates anymore. Honestly, it's getting ridiculous. It's like, I want to save for that one girl in the long term. That's it, you know? And I'm sure your friend was thinking that too. He was like, how can I buy a house for this girl that I really love? Yeah. But at the same time, I still have to spend for this girl, which right. is a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot.
You know, it is a lot of pressure. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, like I still talk to him every now and then, and he is a lot happier now because he knows what he wants. You know, he's more goal oriented. Yeah. Whereas in the past, he was just like, my goals is to make my girlfriend happy, his ex now happy. And even me personally, like coming out of a 3-year relationship and just being single, I've been single for like since February. I also have become more like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I need to do to push myself to be a better me, a better version of who I am now? Yeah. You know, I want to focus on not necessarily spoiling myself. Like, I'm not buying a lot of materials things for myself. I'm not buying like, oh, I want this for my car, blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking now it's like, okay, I want to at least have another investment property in 3-4 years. You know, I want to get into being a broker soon. And I think all that probably would have been lagged and delayed if I was still in that relationship, because like you said, I got so caught up in the now moments. I got so caught up in what's our next, you know, music festival? What's our next vacation? Let's go find our friends in New York. We haven't seen them in so long. And like, you know, let's just do now, you know, things for now. It's like, and then you kind of forget, damn, like you're spending all this money when you could have been like, oh, let's save this and wait out. Let's not go on vacations. Let's focus on ourselves and then see what happens, you know, once we have all these savings, what we want to do then. Yeah, whereas, for sure. Yeah, there was a little time in my life, especially during COVID, we were bored as fuck, right? We were just like fuck, man, what do we want to do? We need to get the fuck out of here. It's like, oh, okay, paycheck comes in. What's just the first thing you do? You fucking start looking at tickets. You start Hawaii, let's do it. Round trip. Fucking COVID prices were like $600, $700 round trips. Let's do it. Whereas we should have been like, no, let's fucking save that. But who the fuck was thinking about all that at that time? Because you're just like, let's go have fun. Let's go make new memories, right? Yeah. And till this day, I am still guilty of having now moments, you know? And it sucks, but, you know, it's really about mindset. And I feel like eventually, you know, I'm going to train myself where I'm going to have to, like, really focus, like, all right, what can I do now where it's not going to break the bank? Yeah. And I can still have good memories to, you know, remember. And
did you feel like it was worth it? Like, did you feel like she at least appreciated the stuff that you got for her, or was it kind of like just brushed off a little bit? I mean, this could be another topic for like another day.
There were many moments. It was very appreciative. Many moments. However, there were a few moments where it was just like, oh, I felt like, oh, I'm getting signs that I could have done better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even though you already spent quite a bit already.
Exactly. So, and yeah, you know, I feel like that's just kind of like the imperfections of every relationship. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I've had great memories, great moments with my ex, but there definitely were a lot of moments where it was just like, damn, I think
what the hell?
Damn, I feel right? I feel like I thought I was giving it my all. I guess
for real.
I guess not.
Yeah. No, I felt that. I mean, I went through that with you, bro. So I totally understand. Mm-hmm. But yeah, dude. I think I'm gonna wrap this up because we're hitting like the 40-minute mark. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, Enric?
Okay. Well, one more thing is, I think men, we have to really be more selective on what we end up doing and choosing, because I feel like a lot of us are lonely, especially like if you've been single for a while, you get desperate. You really do. And you start just going on dates just because you want to be with somebody, or you don't want to be alone. But
it's hard for a guy that's normal. If he's the average Joe and he's just like, doesn't really have that much money, he doesn't look that good, he can't be that selective.
I know,
right? But like, for example, like an average woman, she's like a 5, kind of overweight or something. Right. She could still get like a lot of DMs from her IG.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is, I know it's not going to happen overnight, but just don't sell yourself short. I feel like a lot of people nowadays, they're selling themselves short, and they're just reaching out to whatever opportunities they can grab because they just don't want to be alone anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have to be selective and also very picky. Whereas you can't just like, shoot a fucking shotgun in a barrel and just like, all right, whatever comes up.
Shoot your shot.
It. Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shots.
Yeah, shotguns. Exactly. Your shotguns. Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to end it off as.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, hey, thanks a lot for coming on board, bro. We had like a lot of like planning just to get you on, dude. But thanks a lot for coming on.
Hey, I'm here though.
Oh yeah, I think this was like probably one of the best discussions I've had with any guest that came on. But just to wrap this up, we are looking still for guest speakers to join like Controvert podcast. So if you are interested in being a guest speaker, hit us up in the DMs on IG at Controvert Podcast. And thank you for watching. If you guys want to subscribe, if you guys like this video, make sure to subscribe, like this video, of course, and then comment below what you think about all this stuff. Like, do you think money is something that should be really the drawing factor, the breaking factor with dates and stuff like that? But aside from that, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching Controvert Podcast. Peace out.
See ya.